Hey, coffee crew. Welcome back to all my besties. A couple of quick things before we get into today's episode. First, disclaimer. The husband is still home. So recording time is still very much when I can. So I want to pre-warn and pre-apologize for any background noise. I did manage to get up super early today, so I'm hoping I can squeeze it in before anybody wakes up. Sky and Cloud are not happy that their co-star time is being cut by the untrained ones in the house. And they're making their feelings known by being extra rambunctious. Also, I did pick up a new tarot deck. For those that know me, I am a Nightmare Before Christmas girl, through and through. My clothes, my house, my tattoos, I got it everywhere. So when we were out shopping and I spotted a Funko Pop Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck, I had absolutely no choice in the matter. Nope, it had to come home with me. That's the rule, and I don't make the rules. Or at least that's what I tell myself. Or my husband when he looks at me like, really? Another deck? Now, this season is the cup season. The inner life, emotions, and stuff that lives underneath everything else. So today we're going to go somewhere that fits right in the heart of that. We're going to talk about mental health cycles. Not how to fix them. Not how to perform or master your way through them. Just kind of understanding what they actually are and what they look like from the inside. Now, I have said this before on other episodes. Mental health is not a flat line. I know. All the medicine commercials try to sell you this idea that this goal is to reach this stable place and kind of stay there forever and ever. Like, happily ever after fairy tale ending. They try to convince you that if you're doing the right things, getting enough sleep, eating well, going to therapy, and definitely taking their pills, you should eventually just be okay on a constant basis. Now, for some people, that's closer to true than others. But for a lot of us, that's just not how it works. It moves. It cycles. It shifts. It's kind of like a puppy. Ups, downs, not always ever where you want them to be. And as part of that lie, the good days don't mean you're fixed. And the bad days don't mean you're broken. They're just different points on the roller coaster ride. So let's name the different kinds of days. Because I love words, and sometimes it kind of helps to have a language for things. There are high functioning days. The ones where you feel like yourself. Energy's there, you get things done, you're feeling good, you're definitely feeling accomplished about who you are and what you've done. And then there's flat days. Nothing's exactly wrong, but it doesn't feel like anything special either. The blah. The coffee tastes fine, the day moves forward, but there's like this gray film over everything. And you don't get the enjoyment out of it like you always do. You don't get that peace that comes with that morning cup of coffee. And then there are the survival days. The days where you're not okay. We're getting through the basic requirements of being alive, like getting out of bed, is the whole goal. Where the win for that day is just not falling apart in front of anyone. On those days, you focus one step at a time. And if all you can manage is to get out of bed, call it a win. The saying is one day at a time. And some days, those bad days, one day at a time is just too much. So if you can't focus on trying one day at a time, try an hour at a time. If you can't focus on that, that's too much. 10 minutes at a time. Or a minute. Because the minutes add up, the hours add up, the days add up. Now, all three of those are real. All three of those are a part of the cycle. And finally, there's the in-between days. The ones where you're not high functioning, but you're not flat either. It's the ones where you can kind of, like you're at a tipping point, but you're not sure which direction it's going to go yet. And those are the hardest to explain to anyone. You know you're on the edge, but whether it's on the edge of a breakdown or breakthrough is going to be a coin toss. And those days don't have a name that people recognize. You're not doing great, but you're not okay. And like a lot of things with mental health, trying to explain that to someone who doesn't experience it, to them it seems like you're complaining about nothing. The shame around inconsistency is also something that needs to be addressed. Because I think a lot of people try to hide the bad days after they've had a good stretch. Not because they're being dishonest, but because they feel like they've already shown people that things are better. And now you have to maintain that image. That they will be judged or treated as if now they're faking it. The good spell becomes the performance. And then when the cycle dips again, it almost feels like a personal failure rather than just, the next line in the pattern. And let's be clear. There is a difference between a mental health cycle, which is the natural ebb and flow most human beings experience, and a clinical emergency for clinical diagnosis that requires possibly emergency medical attention. Both are real, both are valid, both need to be taken seriously. But those are different conversations, and I want to be careful not to lump them into the same thing. Nor do I want people to not seek help if they need it. I'm mostly talking about the cycle that people live in, whether they name it or not. If you are in a place where you think something more clinical might be happening, please, please, please talk to a professional. I am just a woman with way too much coffee, a microphone, and two judgy cats as co-stars. Rule number 1 of surviving a hard stretch or blah day is to find the laugh when you can. And this week, the laugh came for free. My husband is finally getting to the point where he can kind of move around more, which is great. Progress. He's getting some independence back. I'm getting some of my sanity back. Maybe. Okay, well, that's up for debate, but the other day I needed to break down some boxes, and I asked him if he could take them outside. He said he was just about to sit down, but yes, he could do that. And I kind of really wanted to say, well, at least I didn't ask you after you sat down, because then I would have I just sat down. But I kept the snark inside. Fine, I go back to picking up the kitchen. I hear the door to the garage close, meaning he went outside. All right, great. Another task checked off the list. Until I look over at the boxes. The boxes that are still there. Right there. Right where I left them. On the kitchen table. Sitting there. They're looking at me like that damn judgmental frog, taunting me that they couldn't believe that I thought that the task was actually done. I roll my eyes, grab the boxes, walk to the screen door, My husband is out there in the garage, putting around like he's been out there for half an hour, working hard. He looks up and sees me standing at the door. First, he looks confused, genuinely puzzled as to why I would be standing at the door, staring at him like he lost his damn mind. And then his eyes dropped to the boxes in my hand. And I watched it happen on his face in real time. You could see the exact moment he remembered, and the light bulb went off. The boxes, the real reason he went outside, the thing he said he was going to do. In the approximate 1 minute it took from him to walk from the living room to the garage, he had completely forgotten the entire reason he was not sitting down, and that he went outside in the first place. So he goes, "Oh shit, the boxes. Now I have a choice here. I can be all pissy and give him attitude, or I can laugh and mess with him." I never resist the urge to mess with him. My response was, "No shit. You know, the reason why you went outside to begin with." He starts laughing because he couldn't believe he forgot that fast. And honestly, neither could I. I joined the laughing because now I have a story to bring up whenever he wants to poke fun at me. You know, kind of like when we're grocery shopping and I have to run back because I forgot to grab something. Turnabout is fair play, and all is fair in love and war. Some chores are just going to have to stay on the honey, I'll do it myself list. That's fine. It's life. And that is a lesson. Sometimes the best thing you can do on a chaotic day is find the absurdity of it. Laugh at the man who forgot why he went outside in 60 seconds. You know, and then as a dig back, make him internet famous on your podcast. So let's go through some responses people give you when you're struggling. Some can be genuinely helpful, and some of them are so unhelpful that they have their own category. Such as, "Have you tried just being positive?" "Oh my God, no, I never thought of that. Thank you." Bye, Felicia. The idea that depression, anxiety, or any kind of mental health struggle can be resolved by just choosing to think differently is one of the most persistent, damaging, and annoying myths out there. It's all kinds of disrespectful and puts the entire burden on the person who is already struggling. You're basically implying that they're only struggling because they haven't tried hard enough to feel better. Look, if it were that simple, nobody would be struggling. You wouldn't be seeing ads for medications and therapy. You cannot positive think your way out of a brain. It's kind of like a cat. It does what it wants, will not move when it doesn't want to, and never cooperates. And just don't think about it is equally annoying, equally useless, maybe well-intended, but equally missing the whole entire fucking point. We talked in season 2, episode 15 about the difference between rest and escape. And I don't want to repeat myself because yes, that is an active thing that I do all the time. And it drives my husband crazy. You know, but box payback here, you can't forget if I keep reminding you. But it's relative. Rest is restorative. Escape is a tool. Both have their place. The distinction that matters during a bad mental health stretch is whether the thing you're doing is giving you something back or just helping you avoid something you'll still have to deal with later. Mind the cat meowing. She's on one this morning. Sometimes avoidance is what you need. Just know which one you're doing and that it's what you actually need right now. Know who you tell and who you don't tell is a decision that is entirely 7,000% yours. You don't owe anyone your truth, nor your explanation. Not everyone in your life has the capacity to receive or understand what you're actually going through. And choosing not to share with someone is not a weakness, it's wisdom. Some people will just try to fix it, which, might not be what you need. Others will try to make it about them. Some will minimize it and go off on a tangent about how either someone else or they have it worse. Knowing who in your life you can just sit and they won't try to solve it or redirect, knowing those people is worth knowing. Those are the people you tell. And here's a cheat code. And it's something my kids' old pediatrician gave us as a tool as they were getting older. When someone says something to you, ask them, do you need help? Or just to be heard? Or a hug? Before responding to what that person is saying, because it's about doing what that person needs, not what you need to make yourself feel useful. What actually helps during a bad stretch is usually not a grand solution or magical pill. It's the small anchors. The things that give the day some shape when everything else feels shapeless. A cup of coffee in the morning before anyone else is awake. A crochet project you can pick up for 20 minutes and lose yourself in. A text to someone who gets it. Maybe a hug from someone you love. Moving your body even if it's just around the house. Not because any of these things fix anything, but because they give you something to hold on to while you're waiting for the cycle to move. Medication and therapy. And I want to say this clearly because the stigma is real. And I covered the stigma more in depth in season 2, episode 1. So this is just kind of a quick recap. There's nothing weak about medication that helps your brain function the way it's supposed to. There is nothing weak about talking to a professional who can help you understand what's happening and give you the tools to deal with it. Both of those things are forms of taking your health seriously. It's the same way you would take blood pressure medication or see a doctor for a physical problem. The brain is an organ. It can need support as much as, say, my husband's back. And to wrap up the segment, there's a difference between managing and healing. Managing is making the cycle livable, knowing your patterns and triggers, having your anchors, and not letting the bad stretches take everything else with them. Healing is longer, slower, and it doesn't always mean the cycle goes away. Sometimes healing just means you get better at surviving it. Sometimes it means you get longer stretches of okay and shorter dips to deal with. Both of them are valid goals. You do not have to be cured to be doing well. All right, coffee crew. Brews news. As always, I like to timestamp. It is August 26, 2026, 6:30 a.m. Story 1, as always, is an Epstein update. It's kind of brief this week. Judge Sullivan still has Katie Fang's case on his desk, and the DOJ is still stonewalling. The coma wrap-up timeline is moving forward. Republicans are pushing to close out the House Oversight Committee investigation before the midterms, with criminal referrals. Democrats are pushing back, pointing out that 3 million documents are still unreleased, and New Mexico's criminal investigation is still being blocked. As always, don't let these women be pushed under the rug again. Story 2, I want to talk about the Supreme Court mail-in ballots, and this one dropped yesterday. The Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines to lift the injunction blocking Trump's executive order restricting mail-in ballots before November. The order would direct the Postal Service to only deliver ballots to the people that are on the federal DHS voter list. The best way to break this down, I like the way Ben Meiselas from Minus Touch put it. It's like someone holding a gun to your face and you ask the court, hey, can you do something so he doesn't shoot me? And the court basically says, well, he hasn't shot you yet, so there's nothing we can do. This is not a final ruling on whether the order is legal or not. So the legal fight continues. But the window before November is weeks, not months. Pay attention to this one. Story 3 is Gary, Indiana, and this one deserves more attention than it's getting. On August 11th, a derecho hit northwest Indiana with 99 miles per hour winds. As of yesterday, more than 20,000 people in Gary are still without power. Nearly 2 weeks later, 7 people have died. Gary's mayor has said his city deserves more than just survival. The ACLU of Indiana noted that Black communities are too often expected to endure conditions that would be treated as intolerable somewhere else. Now, FEMA has done assessments. Full power restoration in Gary was expected yesterday, August 25th. I don't know if it's restored, but even if it was, that's 2 weeks of no power, spoiled food, closed schools, and people lining up at community centers for hot meals. The thing we're saying here is this story has gotten almost no national coverage. It's not that these weather tragedies have stopped. The media has just stopped telling people about them. For the final story is in Mississippi, and it's extremely disturbing, and it is not getting the nationwide attention that it really, really deserves. Since September 2025, at least 3 Black people have been found hanging from trees in Mississippi. Trey Reed, 21, a Delta State University student, was found hanging on campus September 2025. It was ruled a suicide before the autopsy was even complete. Nolan Xavier Wells, 18, a Black college football player, was found dead in the water in July 2026 after going missing on a boat trip. An independent autopsy found that the death was ruled undetermined. Most recently, I'm sorry if I mess this up, Tasia Fortune, 29, a mother of 4, was found hanging from a tree behind a vacant home in a predominantly Black Jackson neighborhood on August 3rd. Her mother says she did not do this to herself. Police have not determined the cause of death. No arrests have been made in any of these cases. The NAACP, Ben Crump, and civil rights organizations are demanding answers. A current 2026 study found more than 70 modern-day lynching cases across southern states since 2000. These men and women have names. They have families. The stories are not getting covered, and they need to be. So make sure you say their names. Trey Reed, Nolan Xavier Wells, and Tasia Fortune. You cannot think your way out of a brain that is not cooperating, no matter what any Karen says. I want to repeat it again, because A, I want to make sure it sticks. B, I want to try and help remove the guilt that you feel when you try and it doesn't work. You cannot willpower your way through a mental health cycle the same way you cannot willpower your way through a herniated disc. And hubby, if you're going to stay home, you're going to be used as an example. Just a quick reminder. The brain is doing something and it is not asking permission. The cycle is happening whether you want it to or not. It's kind of like a kid or a toddler that way. Your job is not to override it. Your job is to get through it the best you can. Now, I'm going to call you out a little bit here, besties. The good days are actually not for catching up. Don't let Earl push that guilt button that sends you into overdrive. And this is one of the most common mistakes I hear people make in a mental health cycle. And I'm guilty of it myself, I'll admit. But you use the high functioning days, the I finally have my shit together days, to compensate for the low functioning ones. You run around like Speedy Gonzalez on uppers trying to do everything that you couldn't do during the bad stretch. Like you have to prove yourself and everyone, you have to prove to everyone else that you're okay. or that you owe it to the people in your life to make up for it. All that does is exhaust yourselves, and it kind of makes the next dip come in not only faster, but harder. The good days are for living, for being present, for doing a little more than the basics if you want to, but to really enjoy all the things that you enjoy doing with those that you love. Not paying an imaginary debt that you don't actually owe. Small consistency beats all or nothing thinking every time. I'm going to use my training here as an example. When I started, I'd walk 30 minutes a day. And now I can run miles. Before, when I wanted to run, I would just try to run, make it 30 feet, twist my ankle, and be down for the next 3 weeks and lose all my motivation. You don't have to do all the 20 things you swore you would do when you felt better. Just one small thing. One row, one email, one walk around the block is enough. The all or nothing brain wants you to believe that if you can't do everything, you should do nothing. We talked about this last week when we were talking about reading, that the go, 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 go world has us thinking if we can't read it all in one sitting, don't read it. But that is the world in fast forward and the cycle pushing that guilt button. It's not the truth. Small and consistent builds more than big and occasional. So even on survival days, one thing is enough. The Three of Cup energy, which is the card that we're going to work on this week, is about community. It's about showing up for each other. So know this, you don't have to do this alone. The mental health cycle is one of those things that is very good at convincing you that you're the only one, that nobody else would understand or care, or that you would be a burden if you said something. That's the cycle talking, not the truth. People who love you want to know. The right people. The ones who can actually hold it, who want to be there. Let them love you the way you need right now. And this is permission to just be in it without performing your way through it. If you're not okay, it is okay to present that to the world. You don't have to put on the mask of yourself that functions well in public, while the private version is barely holding on and crying in the shower. The coffee crew is a community of people who are all carrying something. We all have our versions of the boxes my husband forgot. We're all just doing the best with a brain that doesn't always want to cooperate. And that is enough. You are always enough, even in the cycles that want you to think otherwise. All right, coffee crew. Time for Shuffle Happens. Take a breath. We went somewhere a little emotionally heavy today, and I always like to ground you out before I send you on. This week's card is the Three of Cups. Close your eyes if you can. Take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. The scene is a ballroom in a palace. It's dark, with tall pillars tinted red lining the edge of the space. There's a grandeur to it, but not a cold one. Something warm lives in this room. The top center of the card is a shining light, and from it, glowing petals are falling down through the light's beam. 3 girls are standing in the rays of light. Their arms are reaching up and open wide, like they are receiving something. They're celebrating something, like they are just exactly where they're supposed to be. Together, their dresses are poofy, pink, catching and reflecting the light. At their feet, the floor is gathering the energy from the light in glowing gold. A gold light shoots outward, making this reflection behind them across the floor. But that reflection is not an exact replica. It's wavy, like rippling water. You can see the shapes of what's being reflected, but not the details. Like something real is there, but you're only catching the impression of it. 3 girls, open arms, falling light, a glowing floor that shimmers like it's alive. Upright, the 3 of Cups is celebration and community. It's the moment of coming together, of being seen by the people who matter to you, of showing up for each other in a way that lifts everyone up. This card is not about grand gestures. It's about the small moments of genuine connection. The people who check in, the group chat that keeps you sane, the friend who brings you coffee, maybe a box of Twinkies, and doesn't ask you to explain yourself. The 3 girls are not performing for an audience. They're just in it together. Reversed, 3 of Cups ask, where have you isolated yourself from people who could actually help? Where are you turning down the invitation? Where are you convincing yourself that you're a burden rather than someone worth showing up for? This card reversed is not about being rejected by the community. It's about the ways we've rejected ourselves when we need it the most. The light is still falling, the arms are still open, and the floor is still glowing. The question is whether you're willing to step into it. You are allowed to let people show up for you. You are allowed to be the one who needs the community this week instead of the one who always provides it. That is what the 3 girls and the light are doing. Receiving something together. Arms open, faces up. So if this is the week you need the help, take this as a sign to reach out and ask them to dance in the light with you. All right, coffee crew, let's wrap this up before, chaos wakes up. Remember, the cycle doesn't make you broken. It makes you human and one of us. The good days and the bad days and all the weird in-between ones are all a part of the same life. You don't have to fix it. Sometimes you just have to get through it. One small thing or one small husband screw up at a time. And reach out to the people who are willing to stand in that light with you. Little social media update. I got a new tattoo featuring my co-stars, Cloud and Sky, and I am obsessed with it. I posted it over on my Instagram, so if you want to see it, go check it out. I know I have a lot of international listeners, so if you happen to be in the Garrettsville, Ohio area and you want some good work done, check out the Much Loved Tattoo Shop. Not paid, not sponsored, just a happy customer. You can find us on Instagram at coffee.crochet.conversation, Facebook, Shirts the Show name. Come hang out and tell me how you're actually doing. For my Apple listeners, if you have a minute, could you leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcast? It kind of helps. We lost a little bit of our momentum from the break, so I'd like to get that back up. And in order to do that, you have to feel that fucking algorithm monster. He's such a greedy. And as always, coffee crew, keep your stitches sassy, your coffee strong, and your spirit grounded.